Hello and welcome back to another video. So whilst I am transforming the garden slowly, I also need to maintain it, and that involves cutting the grass, and there is quite a lot to cut. So I'm going to be cutting it today and just seeing how many steps it takes. I've got my Fitbit on, which I'll set, and I'm not going to be cutting the entire garden. There's a couple of areas that I'm letting get all overgrown at the moment. That's because either they're not being used or there's some future plans. I'll probably put this as a fact file, so if you haven't seen any of my other fact file videos, that's where I basically just talk about my garden and some of the interesting facts about it. So I'm going to be starting up here on the top lawn. I've got the Mountfield lawnmower, and thankfully this has actually got an assist, so it essentially powers itself, so I don't have to push it about, which is good. Also, I'm not going to be collecting the grass, I'm just going to be mulching it straight back onto the lawn. Couple of reasons for this. One, it's been a bit damp and it tends to get a bit clogged up if I'm trying to catch all the clippings. Also, the grass is really long, so I'd end up having to make loads of trips to the compost heap, which I can't really be bothered to do. It's a really hot day. And finally, it's good for the grass. It helps retain moisture in the soil, but it also adds some nutrition to the grass so it can grow all healthy. So anyway, let's get into it. Okay, so the middle lawn is done. It's about 2,000 steps, and it is the next day because it was so hot that my camera overheated and wouldn't let me film anymore. So I'm going to do the rest of it today. I'm going to cut the rest of the grass a little bit taller because there was parts where it really struggled, where some of the grass had gotten so long and it kept cutting out. So we're on to the middle lawn next. Let's go have a look at it. So here's the middle lawn. And I've also got the bike here from my magnet fishing video. If you haven't seen that, check that one out. I'm going to move that over a little bit. But yeah, this should be pretty quick and easy. So let's go cutting. So the middle lawn is cut and it's a bit scruffy around the edges. This is a bit of a scruffy lawn anyway, it needs redoing, which I'm going to get onto at some point, but I've got some plans for it. Some patio and a gazebo that are going to be put up, so I'm not going to bother doing anything with it yet. But I kind of cheated death a little bit. So I was mowing over in this corner, and there were some fairy lights that I didn't know were there in the grass. And they're like little glass balls. And the mower hit this one, and it flew up and it hit me right in the forehead. And now I've got a little lump on my forehead. Thank God it wasn't a couple of inches lower, because it would have hit me right in the eye or in the glasses. But yeah, always check your lawn before mowing. That's the lesson. I couldn't see them, so what can you do? I'm lucky. Okay, so after a couple more days of rain, I'm onto the bottom lawn. And this is all new grass here. It's all stuff that I planted in the last 3 or 4 months, and it grows really quick. I've also got the boat that I'm going to have to maneuver around, but that should be pretty easy. I've put loads more grass seed down there and it hasn't come up yet, so it's just this and the paddock left to do. So that's the bottom lawn all done. That one took quite a while because it's such a weird shape here, and trying to get in and around all of the trees is quite difficult. Plus also there's these flower beds that are just an absolute mess, and I'm going to do a video in the next week or two sorting these out and getting some new plants. It makes it really hard to cut the grass. And then we've got the Wildflower Garden here. Trying to get the edge on that is very difficult, as well as the boat. That was a bit of a nightmare. Some of the grass around it is actually germinating at the moment, so I had to be careful not to run over any of that. So there's a few spots that I did miss, and then it will be onto the paddock, So you can kind of see that line there where it joins the bottom lawn. And this one should be pretty straightforward. You can get much better lines on this one. I just have to be careful not to damage my bluegrass that I'm growing, nor crash into the sunflowers, because these are the last of them. Let's go and get that one done. And I've finally finished the paddock. Now that one was a bit of a nightmare for a few reasons. The first being that the lawnmower, the drive, decided to stop working, so I was having to push the mower, and that usually wouldn't be too bad. But where this is floodplain land and where it's been so rainy, the grass was all dry, but the ground, there's these puddle spots. I'll see if I can find one quickly. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. That's all just standing water, and so I was having to push it through that, which was an absolute nightmare. But it's looking pretty good. I managed to avoid the sunflowers, and I only cut up to here and then just a little bit round the corner because we've got all of this firewood to burn. There's no point cutting any of that grass because I'll end up just damaging the blade. I'll go through that with the strimmer. But yeah, that was another 4,000 or so steps, and so in total probably somewhere between 8 and 12,000 for the whole thing. Usually I'd be doing that top lawn of the paddock as well as all of this grass up to here, and I'd also be collecting all of the clippings and putting them over here in the compost heap. I didn't decide to do that, but yeah, the compost is all looking good still. But yeah, that was me cutting the grass. Bit of a subdued video. If you enjoyed it or found it interesting, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.